The command of the Constitution is plain. There is no moral issue. It is wrong, deadly wrong, to deny any of your fellow Americans the right to vote in this country.
Early voting has been consistent. I was there yesterday, and the end of the line, I mean, there was a long line around the entire building, and then at the end, it snaked like a snake back and forth. So when I talked to people who had been in the line, it was probably averaging about an hour and a half. Well, I think the lines are long in Ohio during the early voting period is because the legislature has mandated that there's only one location in the entire county. And so you have one location and everyone has to vote there who wants to vote early, to do early voting. Of course, it's going to lead to long lines.
Right here. He knows stuff.
Oh no. Go ahead, hurry up because it's closed. Come on.
End of the line. Let's go. Let's run. They're shutting the line down.
Come on.
Run. They're shutting down.
They're shutting it down. Run.
Finish line.
He's last. That's it. Oh boy.
When it comes to the race for the White House, Ohio has always been a bellwether.
Whoever wins Ohio usually wins the White House.
And no Republican has ever won the presidency without winning the Buckeye State.
Voting was not my first choice. In fact, I think voting chose me. In 2004, Advancement Project received a huge grant to really just work throughout the country to fix problems with regards to voting. I said, this is exciting to me. Advancement, what they're doing, going all over the country. And so I actually was called and asked to apply.
Anybody need to fill your form out, please go around the line and get to the tables. There's pens there.
We have to start paying attention to this whole idea of who counts in our country and who votes in our country. We want to be on the offense. We don't want to be on the defense.
Go to the guy waving the flag. 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 Lucky 13 for you.
My name is Pete Talley, and I'm the convener of the Ohio Unity Coalition. This is a nonpartisan effort. So this is not about either of the two candidates. What we want to do with this poll monitoring operation is just make sure that voters in our targeted precincts have a chance to vote and have that vote counted.
I met Donita in 2004. She's been kind of our attorney on the ground. When we need to know what's going on, whether or not voters are having an issue, she's been our point person because she knows the law.
Other than the voter on election day, you are really the most important and critical piece of this election. You are our eyes and ears. When something goes wrong, you will get on the phone, you will take pictures, you will reach out to 1-866-OUR-VOTE, the election protection hotline. That will feed back into Columbus, and if it's an issue that a lawyer needs to handle, then it's likely that they're going to call me or one of the others. Without you on the ground watching exactly what's going on, potentially intimidation, then we all stand to lose in this election. So while we don't expect you to encounter problems, I think that we know that this election has been somewhat unique. Just a little, right? And so I think we need to be prepared tomorrow for anything.
It's considered one of the most important pieces of civil rights legislation ever passed. But by 5-4, the U.S. Supreme Court today took the teeth out of a law enacted nearly 50 years ago.
Today's decision apparently clears the way for several high-profile laws to take effect, including stricter voter ID requirements in Alabama, Mississippi, and Texas.
We are right now in 2013, no longer in 1965. Times have changed tremendously, and the law must change with the times.
For some reason, since the Voting Rights Act was passed, things have changed dramatically. Therefore, we can get rid of it now. It's just like those outdated labor laws that prohibit children from threading bobbins in on a loom. A kid hasn't been sucked into one of those machines in years.
We started to see states overturn certain voting measures immediately after. In fact, North Carolina was a perfect example. I mean, on the heels of Shelby, the next day they introduced this full bill.
North Carolina's Governor Pat McCrory signed into law some changes in how people vote in the state. The new law requires a photo ID to vote now in North Carolina, also shortens the early voting period in the state.
When he signed the law in August 2013, we sued them within 1 hour. We were waiting for them because we felt it was completely unconstitutional and that they knew, that the legislature knew prior to passing this law that it would have a serious impact on voters of color, particularly African American voters in the state of North Carolina. What was really important for us was to find intentional discrimination. You know, it's hard to find that smoking gun. You're not going to have somebody standing in the middle of the legislature saying, I don't want those black people to vote, and I don't want to live next door to them, and I don't want the Muslims. You're not going to have that now. You know, so you've got to, we've got to be strategic in how we look. We've got to figure out what are the right questions so that we get the right answers.
Take part in early voting, you will see some changes this November. Ohio has eliminated the Golden Week policy. The policy extended time for voter registration, meaning there were 6 days when people could go to register and vote at the same time. Carrie Davis with the League of Women's Voters of Ohio recommends all eligible voters learn which voting rules are in place and double-check their registration.
I mean, it's to the point we joke that election law is like the weather in Ohio. If you don't like it, wait 10 minutes, it'll change. And even, just the last week, we've had cases go up. We're waiting on the Supreme Court again.
There's the voter suppression, the attempts to suppress the vote has just been ongoing.
If it's hard for people like us who live and breathe this, if we need a scorecard to keep up with the changes, that's a challenge for voters. I mean, we'd argue that confusion is in itself a type of voter suppression because it's making it harder for people to know what the rules are for their vote to count.
You may think you're registered to vote, and on Election Day, come to find out you're not registered to vote. It's because of what's known as a purging of the voter rolls.
In Ohio, if you haven't voted or signed a petition or changed your address with your county's Board of Elections in 6 years, you've probably been purged. Ohio's purge process is being called into question. It's been challenged at the federal level and upheld, but an appeal was recently argued in Cincinnati.
They're on the back, too.
It seems to disproportionately impact communities of color. And so we just wanted to make sure that where there were polling locations where a lot of people of color were voting, that we gave that some priority.
Demographics in this country are changing, and that the only way that you're really going to be able to win elections, either you are able to bring in those people who are from different demographics into your party, or you're going to need to purge people. As PD has said, and as we are seeing, it is impacting communities of color disproportionately.
Over 100,000 registered voters were purged. We're talking about a lot of people.
It could determine the election.
According to one recent survey, 1 in 5 voters lives in a state that requires photo ID to vote, but don't know it. In this election cycle, the situation has gotten a whole lot more complicated, a wave of new laws making it tougher than ever just to cast a ballot.
The Supreme Court upheld a controversial new voter ID law in Texas.
Virginia has a photo ID law that was approved last year by the General
New
Assembly.
Alabama law requires a photo identification.
And tomorrow will mark the first time Rhode Island voters will be required to present a photo
A federal
ID.
judge in Wichita ruled that both Kansas and Arizona can indeed ask.
Wisconsin's controversial and restrictive voter ID laws could prevent some 300,000 registered voters from casting ballots.
Good morning. Good morning, PD. Naima had a couple of calls, one for Apostolic Living Faith Church on Mock Road, and then another at a church on Greenaway. So I'm just going to run by there and just make sure that everything is okay. But I just wanted to let you know that I'm out and about, so call me if you need me, okay? Hi, good morning. Good, how are you? Hi, how's it going? No, I've already voted, but thank you. Hi. Good. Hi.
Sylvia.
Oh, good to see you again, Sylvia. How's it going out here today?
So far, well, they opened on time and everything.
Okay.
The first 4 people that came out, 2 got to vote and 2 did not.
Okay.
Because they said they had looked it up online and they were told to come here, but then when they got here, they were told they had to go somewhere else.
Yes. Hi. So what? Well, why couldn't you vote?
She said this wasn't the right piece of mail. It's not.
Oh, you need you need to bring some identification. Is that what she's saying?
That's right.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, then are you going back to get identification?
We don't have any, so she has to go to school.
Oh, she doesn't have any anything with her name on it.
Mail.
Well, did you use the last 4 digits of your social? Because
She didn't try anything. It was my impression that I didn't like the way she handled it. So this is where we at. We're getting in the car. I voted. She did.
Let's see if we can go in.
She's a registered
Do you have time?
You have time?
Let's see if we can go back in and see what's happened. Hi, my name is Donita Judge. I am a civil rights attorney and voting rights attorney from Washington, D.C. And this young lady, this was her first time voting. She did not have any ID, but it's my understanding that she could use the last 4 digits of her social security number to vote today.
I don't think so, but I can check.
Yeah, let's just check. Let's make sure.
At early voting, they have the last 4 of your social or your driver's license number. But that was early voting.
Yeah, I'm not sure
I think it changes when it becomes the day of election at the polls, I believe.
But can she cast a provisional ballot?
Yes, she might. Yes, she can.
Okay.
I'm finished. Do I give it to you?
Yes, bring it back over. You'll have to sign.
Okay.
Young lady, before you go, take a selfie of us.
Okay.
Show me how to do it. Okay.
Like this. Oh, hold on.
First time voting. Go, honey. Okay.
Did you get to vote okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I ain't gonna miss the vote.
All right, all right.
You fought too hard to get it.
You know that a lot of Republicans since 1984 in the presidential races have not been able to win in Wisconsin. Why would it be any different for Donald Trump?
Well, I think Hillary Clinton is about the weakest candidate the Democrats have ever put up, and now we have photo ID, and I think photo ID is going to make a little bit of a difference as well.
Hello? Columbus Fire Station. Wait a minute. Seem to be turning more females away. Okay. I will head over there in a few minutes, okay, and see what's going on. Precinct are listed on the following pages, because I'm just not sure. Okay, great.
Quick update, the headquarters here in St. Louis, we've had lots of issues, lots of long lines due to machines not working at various levels, the electronic poll book not working, machines not reading, and because the ballot is so long, it takes about 30 minutes per person.
That was Command Center. Right across the street is Blackburn, and she's asking if we could maybe go over and advocate with this homeless voter who's being told she can't vote.
You know what? I want to look at the law. I'm pretty sure the law in Ohio is for homeless where you it could be a park bench. It could be the area where what you consider home, where you normally. And so I don't know, but I just want to be sure of the law before.
Okay. Can you look up her name and see if she's in the file? Does she have an address? The issue could be one of ID, because if she's trying to vote without ID on today, that's going to be a problem. I wonder if this number is a shelter.
However, a homeless person is still required to provide identifying information when registering to vote. So what is that?
Hi, Rabana. I understand you might be having an issue trying to cast your ballot today. Is that right? Can you tell me a little bit about what happened?
I told them I had an envelope that had my address on it, but they told me it wasn't up to date of solid, so they did not let me use it.
Did they offer for you to vote a provisional ballot?
No, ma'am. No.
They just told you couldn't vote?
Yes.
Yeah, the issue is it seems that it's going to be the ID with an address. I mean it does have to be a current address on a cell phone bill. None of these things that these people will have, right? I mean, if you're homeless, you're not going to have these.
I'm calling you on a cell phone. Is this your cell phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Does the bill come in your name?
No, it's actually my mom's phone. She gave it to me.
Okay.
Only thing I actually have is me and my daughter's health cards from the welfare office that they sent us. That's it. I'm currently homeless, and everything that I got was stolen. So I don't have any of the information that they told me to use the last 4 digits of my social security number. I did that, and then it's just been.
Yeah, you can.
I've been going through this all
I
day.
know. Hold on. We're going to try to see. You said you have something. What did you say you had?
Office? The welfare
I got I have my health insurance card that they sent us from Melina for me and my daughter.
Okay.
It has our name on it, and it was sent to the address where I'm currently staying.
It does have the address where you're currently staying?
That's a document. Yes, ma'am.
That's a document. Can you put your hands on it?
Yes, I have it in my jacket pocket now.
Okay. You didn't try to offer that when they said it?
I did that, but, she was just so rude,
Okay.
I was just I didn't even.
I know. Listen, we're going to come and pick you up and bring you back down to Blackburn. We'll go inside with you, bring that document, and we can get you voted, okay? But see, people don't know. That's what's crazy.
Because, anything that comes from the welfare department is a document.
That's a government document.
I'm going to grab my best.
You got to have real security with the voting system. This voting system is out of control. You have people, in my opinion, that are voting many, many times. They don't want security. They don't want cards.
This narrative of voter fraud has been drummed up to build consensus for policies that make it harder for certain people to vote. It's been a manufactured controversy. The real fraud is the fact that all of these voters are going to the polls and facing new restrictions for the first time that are unnecessary, that are burdensome, and that are discriminatory.
You okay? Hi, my name is Petey, and I'm with the Unity Coalition. Okay. Can I see your medical card?
Yes, ma'am. It has my name and stuff on it.
But it's, you know what, is it Melina Medicaid? This is...
That's Medicaid.
That's Melina Healthcare. Is this a government document, though?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's her healthcare card from
Do you mind taking it out? I don't want to go through.
No, you can take it out. It's fine.
Okay.
Just take it on out.
Is your address?
You'll take it out. My daughter will probably rip it up if you don't, so it should be fine. Yeah, let me see.
Does it have an address?
Yeah, just you can open the whole thing. It
Okay.
tells you the mailing address and everything.
There it is. That should do. I mean, that's her Medicaid
Your ID
card.
card.
That's her Medicaid
Melina.
ID card, though.
Let's try it. Every government document must have a current address on it,
That's her current address.
but it's not on it.
It's right here.
It's at the top.
Yeah, but this is the card.
But it's attached, Donita.
I know, PD, I'm just telling you what they're likely going to say. I mean, that's what they're, so we got to figure out how do we advocate it. I mean, this is what they're likely going to say. So, if we can say it's attached, but if you, basically this is supposed to be detached.
Yeah, if you detach it, then they'll
Then
be
it
like,
doesn't have
okay.
any address on it. This is just the mailing address where they mailed it.
And that's what the lady told me.
But she's in the file.
So how you doing tonight, young lady?
I'm doing fine.
Good. Have you voted currently? Is this your first time voting, or?
No, it's not. I usually do it like I sign up for it, but I usually don't because of these problems. And it's like I tried to before.
Okay.
But like I told them, even because we're homeless, it does not mean that they should discriminate us and not let us vote.
Right.
Because we don't have the information to vote. We
That's right.
still should have
That's
that right to vote.
Okay, let's go in. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
We're going to attempt to vote again. You're going to explain the situation that you are homeless. This is your current ID card. I'm going to be there with you. I'll introduce myself if I have to. But at the end of the day, you will not walk out of here without casting a ballot. It may be a provisional ballot.
From this point forward, come on.
Come on. Hi, how are you?
May I help you? May I have an ID, please?
I don't have an ID.
But you got anything with your address?
Yes, you do. Yes, she does. You have ID.
Everybody can't be as nice as I am.
So see, I have learned as an attorney that you say as little as possible. You let them ask you the question. You don't offer nothing, okay? So when you started, that's why when you started to say, I don't have, no, yes you do. You got ID. Right. Yes you do. Yes you do.
That was your, I was just trying.
She's been trying to vote since 11 o'clock.
That makes no sense.
It is now, what is it, 6?
And there's your sticker. Thanks for coming out. And you can read down the end of the line.
Yeah, I did.
Thank you.
Did you get your unvoted sticker?
Yeah,
yep,
she
got it.
Yes, good.
Good
Thank
job.
you did good, Ravana.
Good luck, my sister, okay?
Thank you so much.
You took a big step.
Yes,
Keep going.
and I thank y'all so much. So, when I decide to vote some other time, I guess I know who to call.